Hey, did you see our guy Jay Cutler over former quarterback of the Bears, Denver Broncos, whoever you wanted to root for?
Yep.
He kind of went on ESPN 1000 the other day and said Andy Dalton should start over Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, Nick, I don't know if Jay Cutler and the Bears media team is on the same page when it comes to that.
Yeah, that is definitely not the case, Scott. Referencing that Instagram there, yes, that Instagram has been absolutely popping with Justin Fields
Oh, for sure.
photos and graphics. Meanwhile, Andy Dalton, as we've said on the show before, Scott, still a damn good quarterback. I think both of us
Absolutely.
can understand where Jay Cutler's coming from. Actually, this might be the first thing that we agree with Jay Cutler on in his entire life.
For sure.
But
Well,
actually, you
besides
know
the
what?
stuff that he said on Very Cavallari, because
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say,
fucked with him hard.
in fairness, he was pretty solid on that show. He was
Yeah, for sure.
there was one episode where she she came home in like the middle of the afternoon and he was drinking wine at like fucking I think it was like 3 in the afternoon. And
Gotta love it.
she was like, "Oh, you're just drinking at 3 in the afternoon," and he was like, "It's my heart medicine."
It is good
But
for heart health.
fucking phenomenal. So that guy, oh man, incredible. But I mean,
So he
that's gonna get
knows what he's talking about, is what you're saying.
That's what exactly. And I think he's right. Andy Dalton should start. I mean, the Bears fans are going to be, this is going to get everything stirred up in Chicago, which I love to see. But
For sure.
I mean, yeah, like he should be the starting quarterback. See, you know what's weird though? This is kind of one of those things, right? Where it's kind of like
Hmm.
so you see this a lot lately in the news with Brett Favre, I feel like, where it's like
Yeah.
Brett Favre is talking a lot about the Aaron Rodgers situation. Now you got Cutler coming out, he's talking about this whole situation. You got another former player in Shannon Sharp, obviously trying to insert himself in some of Julio Jones' situation. Like a lot of these former players,
Yep.
man, have a lot of opinions, and it's weird because it's like I don't really care what Jay Cutler thinks about Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. Kind of just seems messy. If I'm a Bears fan, I'm like, dude, just get out of here. Like I do not I don't care. Like just ride off into the sunset, do your thing. But like, what are you commenting on?
Yeah.
You played for two teams in your career. Like I don't see you talking about the Broncos. That's the way I would feel if I was a Bears fan, and I can
Yeah.
relate to Bears fans here because whenever Brett Favre opens his mouth for the last 10 years, I'm just like, here we go. Like this
Yeah.
guy's
It's
gonna.
like it. It's one thing if you handled your situation perfectly without mistakes, but it's like Brett, you definitely did not. Jay Cutler, you didn't either.
Yep.
So it's like for you to talk on these other situations, like yeah, I guess you're qualified in that you have experience playing the position, but like as far as like the game and where it's at today, I don't know, especially Brett Favre if he's necessarily qualified, and Jay Cutler probably a little more qualified because he's played in more of today's game. But I agree with him. I agree with him that I think Justin Fields isn't ready, and that's not a knock on Justin Fields. I think he will be a great quarterback if he can sit a year. I think that is a I think that is going to be an interesting thing that we see with the Packers and Jordan Love, because if that happens to work out where we brought him in and he sat and then he played very well and not being thrown in the fire and trying to have to pick up things quick, I think you ruin a lot of good quarterbacks by doing that. Like a Sam Darnold type of guy, potentially a Justin Fields if he gets thrown in the fire. But like there's been so many times, Nick, we've seen it where you got a quarterback, an RG3 type maybe, who they come in, they put him in starter year one, and I just think that it's a lot for even if you are one of the best quarterbacks, you do have to be an elite talent to make that jump to just playing right away.
Yep.
Um, and not to say that Justin Fields isn't a guy that could do that, but I just think if you have a guy in Andy Dalton who's done it a little bit, why not just ride with Andrew Dalton and just
For sure.
for year one and bring Fields along, gradually and say, hey, we got a future guy here, in Fields, but let's let Andy Dalton take the reins this year, show us what he can do. Because to be honest, if you're the Bears fan, you're probably a little more set up with Andy Dalton coming in and being able to just slay on the football field. Um, and then it's Andy Dalton's job to lose, obviously. I mean, if he's not producing through, the first 8 weeks, don't know if you make a decision any sooner than that. But, knowing the Bears, they might do that actually. But I think you just let it play out a little bit with Andy Dalton. And unless you see something really amazing from Justin Fields in practice that is like, okay, yeah, this guy, deserves to to be put in, but I think he has to really blow Andy Dalton out of the water in practice for that to even happen.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, is Jay Cutler butting into something he shouldn't? Probably. Yet
Yeah.
at the same time, is he right? Probably. So it's kind of like one of those
Yeah.
things, where it's like and that's just the case, But will the Bears fans get on the same page as you there? I don't know. I anticipate they will get very impatient with Andy Dalton, probably unreasonably impatient with him.
Yeah.
And in my personal opinion, I don't know that this is right, but I don't see a world where Justin Fields does not start a game for the Bears this year. Justin Fields will definitely
For
start a
sure.
game for the Bears as a rookie. I'm not sure when, I'm not sure where, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, I would agree. I would 100% agree. And and I don't blame the Bears fans for not having patience, in situations like this anymore because
For sure.
to be honest, like they've been patient, but like the last 5 years like my patience would be worn out too.
Yep.
It's I'm not going to lie, like what the Bears are going through, that's like a shit sandwich, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And it's not a sandwich that I want to take a bite of or even be near, and I hope the Packers never pack that for lunch for me ever.
No doubt. Coming up
Because
on
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to deal with it. It's a tough situation to go
it
through,
is.
and it's seemingly and maybe that's due to maybe the ownership of the Chicago Bears making it like a tougher situation to climb out of. But it just I don't even want to get back into that situation. So
Right.
hopefully we
Right.
can the Packers can avoid that at all cost. But yeah, I mean, I definitely understand like the Bears not having patience and just wanting a guy. But I mean, in this situation, I feel like this situation is a little different from the ones in the past because I
Yep.
think you do have two guys who are very, very good at the position and who could come in and make an impact for your team. So I mean, it's going to be a tough decision for the Bears who to start and who to rock with. Maybe they get it right.
No
And like
doubt.
we said, Nick, it's only good for the NFL if that third big market team could get it right and start firing on all cylinders. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what goes on with that quarterback situation over there.